have a chance to play any more football in this 2022-2023 season. So obviously we know that's a possibility, but I mean, I can't really look past Georgia right now.
No, I actually meant just the idea that you've got a second chance for a championship when all look lost after Michigan.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, obviously our head coach, Coach Day, I mean, he said it a million times. I think he says a second chance on life, and that really hit home to us as players because, I mean, after our last regular season game, I mean, we thought it was kind of over. Maybe a New Year's Six bowl, but not a chance at the college football playoffs. And we were blessed with the opportunity to be able to play more football and play for a championship since we didn't, get the Big Ten championship. So I think all of us are obviously excited, and I think there's a different level of focus, a different level of seriousness in practice because we know with this second chance, I mean, why take it for granted? Why not do everything you can to try to win this game? So I think that's where everybody's heads at as players and obviously as coaches. So like Coach Day said, that second lease on life, I mean, we're really taking that serious.
How would you describe that right after the Michigan game that night? What was the mood like? What was just kind of the interaction like around the team?
Right. I don't think we came in. I don't think we came in that next day. I can't remember, but I mean, that's just good to tell you how I was feeling at least. I mean, obviously it was a lot of pain. That was our first loss of the season, so it's been a while since any of us have really felt the feeling of losing. So it was definitely tough. It was a little bit of everything. Feeling sorry for yourself, wondering what you could have did better. It was a whole lot of that going on, but. Once we got the information that we got another chance, I mean, all of that went out the window. Can't feel sorry for yourself anymore. Now it's what did we do wrong? What can we do to fix that? And how can we show on the 31st that we're the team that we were the majority of the year this season.
What were the vibes around those practices before the announcement? You're trying to.
Yeah.
But you're not really sure what you're working for.
Right. Yeah. We definitely. I think we only had like a couple practices, but just to keep that edge. But I mean, it's tough. It's tough to come back on the field, knowing the last time you were on the field, you lost a big game. So it was definitely tough. But I think I remember JT, our DN. He stood in the middle of us before one of our first practices and basically told us like, hey, there's still a possibility. Let's not feel sorry for ourselves. Let's try to get better today. So those practices ended up being pretty good practices, to be honest. After JT, stood up, young guy stood up and expressed how he was feeling about our possibility to play in the college football playoff still. So we ended up having pretty good practices, even though coming in and you kind of feel the downness from all the players in the locker room before we put the pads on and came out here. But it ended up being 2 really good days of practice.
How did it shift once you did know?
Right. Oh, yeah. I mean, definitely a big. I mean, we were all watching it, upstairs, and as soon as we saw our picture come up on the, at the 4th spot, I mean, we knew we got a chance. So, and then, once you see that, it's kind of like it's on. Like as soon as we saw it, it was like, all right, it's on. Like we got a chance. Let's do it. So, I think we came back out here maybe the next day or 2 days later and practicing. We've been having great practices ever since. We've been competing, good on good, all day. To be honest, we haven't really. I mean, obviously our coaches are game planning. Obviously, I mean let's be real, but we really just been doing good on good. Going to best on best. Just trying to get our edge back, trying to get back to the vibes we had earlier in the year. Before our first loss. So it's been great so far. But yeah, it was definitely a shift. And like I said, as soon as we saw that picture, it was it was like it's on. So
Tanner, what do you think it was if it worked for this defense all year, if it didn't work against Michigan?
Yeah, man, it's a good question. I wouldn't say it was anything really. I guess with the defense, obviously it was explosive plays in that game, but I mean all year we were flying around. Everybody was on their P's and Q's. I think that game we just had a lot of missed assignments by everybody, me including everybody. It was just a bad time to have a bad game really. So after watching the film, I mean, we saw that it really wasn't anything that our opponent was doing. It was us. We beat ourselves. So I mean, now going into this game, I mean, obviously our focus is all on Georgia. So going into this game, it's like everybody's just kind of in the mindset of, man, just do your job. I think if everybody does their job, it may be a different outcome. And I think if everybody does their job, on the 31st, it'll give us our best chance of winning. So I think it was just a lot of, misassignment, just, people trying to, do more than what they're really supposed to do. That's
Tanner,
On those explosive plays, was it missed assignments? What do you see as sort of? I mean, they had 5 plays that were they were all real big ones.
Yeah. I obviously I can't give you like the specifics of what happened in each individual plays, but I mean obviously some of them maybe it could just be one gap. Somebody misses one gap and it's an explosive play. I mean that's just the life you live as a defensive player. Even being a defensive back. I mean somebody gets behind you is going for 80. So that's just the life you live as a defensive player. And I think in that game, whether it was bad eyes, whether it was a missed assignment, I mean, it just happened at the wrong time. But I think, like I said, coming into this preparation for the 31st, I mean, everybody's just focused on doing their job. It wasn't a lot of that going on in that game, but I think, now that we know, hey, if I just do my job, we're going to win. I don't have to do anything special. I don't have to go out there and be Superman. I just got to do my job, and, that'll give us the best chance of winning. I think now, that's our focus. It's going to be a different game.
Tanner, you probably know Jim Knowles better than anybody.
Right.
He's had a great year. Obviously, that was not a great performance by anyone.
Right, nah.
How have you seen him this week or since, you got a second chance on life
right
here? How did he take it? I mean, have you talked to him?
Right, yeah, most definitely. I mean, he addressed us. I mean, I've talked to him personally. Obviously, Coach knows, he takes full blame for, anything defensive. I mean, he tells all the time, hey, that's my fault, and I think as a leader of young men, I mean, he does a great job with that. But we also know, we're the ones playing on the field. We're the ones that got to get the job done. So, he says that, but we kind of are like, no, we got your back. Like, it's us too. So, after talking to him, he obviously expressed things he could have done better, calls he could have made better. But, I mean, at the end of the day, whatever he calls, it's our job to execute. So, we talked about different things like, he asked us, is he putting too much on our plate? Just things like that. And we're like, no, everybody's got to do their job. So we all had, a dialogue after that game, him and me personally, him and the team, him and the defense. So I think, he knows that we got to be better. And he's doing everything he possibly can. All of them, the position coaches, everybody, they're doing everything they possibly can to put us in the best situation to be successful on the field. So I think they've took the constructive criticism and they're running with it right now and they're doing everything they can.
Tanner, he said a bunch of times this year, 5 or fewer explosive plays, you can be undefeated. But in a game like that, 5 plays make the difference.
All right, exactly.
Does that change from your experience with him in those bigger games? Does that that number maybe become 2 or 3 is all you can handle?
Right.
I mean, how does that work in a big game like that?
I mean, Coach Knowles is he's been coaching for a long time, so I think he's had that even since I was at Oklahoma State, the 5 or less undefeated. That's what he calls it. So I don't think it changes. I think 5 is a good number. I mean, he's played a lot. He's coached a lot of football games, but like you said, I think it was way more than 5 that game. But that rule has been reigning true. I mean, obviously you can get away with it when you play, opponents that you're, better than. But when it comes to that matchup game, when you're playing, as Coach Day say, when you're playing against yourself, teams that have the same amount of caliber stars or whatever the case may be, or just athleticism. That really comes to play. That 5 that's undefeated, man. You gotta really tighten up as a defense. You gotta really be able to stop the bleeding as a defense. And those explosives, those are punches that'll leave you leaking and you'll bleed out. So, like I said, that was just a bad game, a bad time to have a bad game by our defense. So, but now I think that 5 that's undefeated holds true. So we got to remember that while we're on the field.
When he talks about
specifically on 2 of the 3 big time pass plays, one was a missed tackle, but the other 2, basically safeties got run past. You know what I mean? Or lost leverage.
Right.
You know what I'm talking about.
Right.
Even a zone turns into a man-to-man at the end of it, right?
Right.
What were the lessons learned about those 2 plays in particular? Obviously y'all were kind of selling out up front. Go ahead.
Yeah. I think just do your job. Obviously in the back end, there's complications too. Our defense is complicated, but like you said, certain plays, even if it's zone, they turn the man. So, if your job's to stay on top, stay on top. If your job's to, be underneath the receiver, then be underneath the receiver. It all goes back to just doing your job. There's not really, there's a coaching point, but there's not really a coaching point. It's just kind of do your job. like I said, and that was a big game. I mean, even myself, I found myself like I was trying to make a big play, instead of just doing my job, man. So I think we just all need to, we all went back to the drawing boards, and it's like, it's really simple, man. Just do your job.
Yeah.
You don't have to do anything special. So it really all stems back. All those big plays that you guys saw, stem back to, man, just do your job type of thing.
Yeah, in other words, it comes down to know where you are on the field and know
Right.
where you do have help and know where you don't, right?
Exactly.
And try to funnel it to the
Right,
to the help
wherever
side.
your help is. Yep,
Yeah.
exactly. I mean, there's, I don't remember the specific coverage we were in, but I mean, like I said, everything stems back to doing your job.
Yeah, one other quickie. These two tight ends, I know you've looked at them probably ad nauseum by now.
Yeah.
What is the special challenge they present? Because both of them, in their own way, are a big play, and one guy's a beast.
Yeah. I mean, size. I say size. I mean, yeah. I mean, I think Zero. He's a really big guy. As a quarterback, I mean, I would love to throw to him just because of how big that target is. I mean, you can kind of put it anywhere, and he's able to catch it. And then the other tight end, I mean, he's almost like a receiver. I mean, he's just a bigger receiver. I mean, he has great catch radius as well. I mean, he's a pretty polished route runner, for a tight end. I mean, both of those guys can hurt you defensively. So that's definitely going to be a focus. And they're great blockers. I mean, obviously Georgia has a really good run game, just like when we played the team up north. So we obviously have to prepare for both the run game and have really good eyes in the back end to know, okay, they may block, but when they release, let's attach to them and let's cover that. So that's definitely in the game plan. Like I said, we haven't really in practice at least done a lot of game plan stuff, but obviously we're watching film and we know what's coming, so I think we'll be prepared.
A lot of people say they remind you of Michigan a little bit in the way Michigan likes to play. I mean, like to pound on you a little bit. Do you feel that too?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely agree with that. Both really good teams. Obviously, you're top four. I think that's 1 and 2. So, and they play similar, man. You got to be able to be tough when you play teams like that, man. You gotta come into that game with a different demeanor, man. You gotta really be prepared to go to battle for 4 quarters, like all game. And I think we understand that, after what happened in our last regular season game, man. We understand, man. We got to be a 4-quarter team. And every single play, you never know what play it's going to be that's going to really determine the game. So I think going into this game, man, we got to, with this second lease on life, we really have a different perspective of how we got to come out as the Buckeyes.
With a veteran quarterback like Stetson Bennett, obviously he's been playing a while. I mean, when you're watching him on film, is there something to his game that makes it extra special challenge? Yeah,
man. Stetson's a really good quarterback, man. He doesn't really get a lot of love. Just because of maybe his I don't know what the case may be, but he's a vet, like you said, so you can see how smart he is when you're watching film. He doesn't make a lot of mistakes, which is tough because as a defense, you're banking on him to make mistakes so you can get a turnover or whatever the case may be. But he doesn't make a lot of mistakes, and I think that within their offense he fits perfectly. So I mean, it's definitely gonna be a challenge, man. We gotta try to keep him on his toes. Try to throw some different looks at him. Hopefully, get him off track. I think that'll be our plan. But like I said, he's a vet, man. So it's going to be a battle. I have nothing but good things to say about their quarterback over there.
Tanner, when you guys give up those big plays, and a lot of them, a couple are like zero blitzes, the others are you're really selling out the stuff, or you're being aggressive and they're kind of making you pay for it.
Yeah.
Do you think that will make Coach Knowles any less aggressive moving forward? Or do you think he'll stick to who he is?
Nah, I think he'll stick to who he is. And even when he is being aggressive, man, in the back end, we just got to tighten up and do our job because, we're aggressive every game. It just so happened that game, the majority of times we were aggressive. We kind of paid for it a little bit, but I don't think it's going to change. I think he may change, like, when he calls when he wants to be super aggressive to sell out, he may change that. But the amount of aggressiveness, I doubt it. I think we just got to tighten up. Everybody just got to do their job. If you got to stay on top, stay on top. If you're a man, just win your one-on-one. So I don't think there's any need to change. I think we just got to tighten up as players and execute the job when he does call those calls.
Tanner, for you,
watching the team names be revealed, what's going through your mind when you see TCU and you're just waiting for the number 4?
Yeah. To be honest, personally, I can only speak for myself. I think I kind of knew, we were gonna be in. Obviously there was some debate and everything, but like I said, as soon as we saw that, we saw TCU go at 3, and we're like, okay, And I'm kind of thinking like, all right, we're 4. And as soon as we saw it, I was like, all right, let's go. Because, I mean, this is my first time, in the playoffs. Last year, I was at Oklahoma State. We had a shot, lost in the Big 12 championship to Baylor, and lost our chance. So I've came close, but never been in it. So I'm grateful, man. I'm excited. That's a really big stage. I mean, as a college football player, it's what you dream of. So, man, I'm excited to, get that going, excited to prepare and come out of there victorious.
Do you feel now like this is
that rematch?
I mean, obviously that was a possibility. That would have been great. Like I said, I'm focused on Georgia right now, so it's really hard to, then go back and think. But I mean, obviously before we knew that was a possibility, so we were, we were excited for that. But now that we, know we play in Georgia, that's all I can really think about.
Being in this position, do you feel like this is why I came here?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, definitely why I came here. Definitely why Coach Knowles came here. I mean, this is what I wanted. So, like I said, that's why I'm so, blessed, so grateful, because I came here, to win a national championship. Came here to, do it all I can as a player to, bring the Buckeyes to, win a national championship. Really, so fell short of, 2 of our goals that we had this year, but that's okay because we still have a chance to, win the big one. So I think that's why Coach Day says, second lease on life, because, we did fall short of 2 of our big goals we had this year, but now we still got a chance at the big one. So that's really not common, to have, 2 teams in the Big Ten in there, but hey, we got a chance and we got to take advantage of it.
With the 5 or fewer explosive plays, 5 or less, what's the threshold for like what Knowles considers like an explosive play? Is it like 20 yards, 30 yards? Is he like?
I want to say it's 15 plus. I think it's either 15 plus or 20 plus. But knowing him, I probably assume 15 because those are kind of bleeders. When the offense is able to get 15, chunk yards on one play, that's tough. So that's a lot of ground. Picking up towards getting the red zone, getting in field goal range. So that's when points start to get put on the board. So I'll say 15.
And you were saying too, you expect him to kind of maintain that aggressiveness as a play caller going forward. How did he handle that in the moment against Michigan? Because one of the first all-out blitzes led to the touchdown, their first score. Did he sort of maintain that same aggressiveness throughout the game? You thought?
He definitely did. We definitely played aggressive. That was our game plan going into that game, was to be aggressive. And like I said, just on some of those plays, it could be one guy, it could be 2 guys. If you don't execute, it can hurt you. So I think we just got to go back to the drawing boards, and it's all about execution, all about doing your job. So I don't want to sit here and say he made the bad call or anything, because he didn't. We just gotta execute on those calls. So, but yeah, he's definitely not gonna change.
Tanner, you mentioned last year being so close to Oklahoma State losing to Baylor.
Right.
You lose to Michigan, it's almost feeling like the same feeling.
Yeah.
How much does this mean to you, knowing how close you came last year and now getting this shot coming in?
Yeah, man. You hit it right on the head, man. It was a similar feeling when you get to the end of the season. You put in so much work, in the off season. You put in so much work, really year round as college football players with academics and football. So when you fall short of some of your goals, it hurts. It's painful, man. So, but being able to still have a chance to do what I ultimately came here to do what I'm sure every player on this team and every coach on this team came to this school to do, is win a national championship. That's just facts. So to still have the opportunity to do that, man, is I'm blessed, man, and grateful. And like I said, we can't take this for granted, man. We gotta attack it. We gotta work, whatever it takes, man.
Tanner, I just wanted to clarify the practice where you said the JTT got up and said something. That was early in the week.
That was maybe a couple days after the loss. And we came back out here and practiced, and he kind of talked to us because we could feel it. It was a different feeling that we haven't felt that whole year in that locker room. So he came out, felt like he needed to say something, and it kind of got us fired up a little bit.
Was it something new that you guys were seeing from him at that point?
Nah, not necessarily new. JT, even though he's a young guy, he's always been a vocal guy. Always been considered one of the leaders on the team. So him speaking wasn't new, but just him really noticing how the feeling was around the locker room, noticing that we were all down, knowing that we got to come out here and practice. Why waste a day, you know? And that's kind of what it was headed to. We were probably gonna waste that day if he didn't say anything.
You guys needed somebody to kind of shake it up.
Yeah, most definitely. Yeah, it was. I mean, to be honest, I think before he spoke, you know, nobody really wanted to be there just because we felt like everything was done. But you know, with him, you know, just reminding us, hey, we still got a chance. Let's not waste this day. Let's get better. So when that chance does come, we're gonna be prepared.
Was it last question? Was he emphatic? Was he loud?
Yeah.
Explain what he kind of said. You know.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, before practice got up in the middle of everybody, and he was yelling, you know, ecstatic, like just basically saying what I'm saying, like we still got a chance. So I know everybody's mad about the loss. I know we're all pissed off, but let's not come out here and waste this day. Let's come out here and execute. Let's come out here and get better. So when we do get that chance, you know, we can maximize it.
What bowl games y'all go to last year?
I was at Oklahoma State. I went to the Fiesta Bowl.
Yeah, Fiesta Bowl. That's right. Well, do you remember the difference? What is the difference right now that you feel?
Right.
That you know, coming off like you said, you were that close.
Right. Good question. Yeah. I mean, obviously playing for the Fiesta Bowl was great. That's a New Year's Six bowl.
Yeah.
But you're just playing for the bowl game. You're not really playing, you know, in the top 4 national championship. So it's always a different feeling just playing for a bowl game. You're really just playing for your team, and playing, you know, just, you know, getting another win on the chart. But here, I mean, I feel like we're playing for all of, you know, Buckeye Nation, you know, the city of Columbus. I mean, all the fans. I mean, it's a lot on your back when you're playing for something big like a national championship, and that's history, man. Like, I know you guys see these banners all around here, man. I mean, I want to be on one of those. So I mean, that's the difference. You know what I mean? You have your name on a banner. You get to really make history, and as Ohio State Buckeye, I mean, and that's never going to change. You can't take the national championship away from me if we, you know, are able to win one. You can't take that away. So I think that's the difference.
Is that pressure and intensity? Is that how would you describe
I mean, yeah, for sure, definitely pressure, definitely intensity. But as a player, that's what you play for. I mean, you're at Ohio State. I mean, you're gonna have pressure. You're gonna have all of that. And it's 105,000 every game. So, but that's what you play for. I mean, that's what I came here for. That's what everybody came here for. So, that's no biggie.